In 2026, the Linux world is entering one of its most exciting eras yet. For decades, Linux users have debated which distribution deserves the top spot. Ubuntu, Fedora, Arch Linux, Debian, Linux Mint, OpenSCSI, and many others have all taken turns dominating discussions. But something is changing. A new generation of Linux users is no longer choosing a distribution based only on package managers or desktop environments. Instead, they want speed, stability, gaming, support, AI, integration, seamless updates, and hardware compatibility. That shift is creating the perfect opportunity for one Linux distribution to become the operating system that millions of people switch to over the next few years. For a long time, Ubuntu was considered the default choice for beginners. Fedora earned respect for offering cutting-edge technologies while remaining stable, and Arch Linux became the favorite of power users who wanted complete control. However, the Linux landscape of 2026 is different from what it was even 5 years ago. New technologies like immutable operating systems, containerized applications, universal package formats, AI-powered development tools, and better gaming compatibility have changed what users expect from their operating system. The distribution that is attracting the most attention for this new era is Fedora Atomic, particularly its additions like Silverblue and Kinoite. Unlike traditional Linux distributions that modify the base system every time you install software or update packages, Fedora Atomic keeps the operating system mostly Applications are installed separately using Flatpak, while development environments are created using containers. This approach dramatically reduces the chances of system breakage while making updates faster, safer, and easier to roll back if something goes wrong. At first, the idea of an immutable operating system sounds strange. Many Linux users are used to modifying every part of their system. But once you understand the benefits, it becomes clear why so many developers believe this is the future of desktop Linux. Imagine installing an update without worrying about broken dependencies. Imagine restarting your computer after an upgrade knowing that if anything fails, you can instantly return to the previous version. That level of reliability is something Windows users have wanted for years, and Linux is beginning to deliver it in a very elegant way. Another reason Fedora Atomic is gaining momentum is its close relationship with Red Hat, one of the biggest companies contributing to Linux development. Technologies developed inside Fedora often become industry standards. Features like Wayland, Pipewire, SLinux improvements, and modern system management tools usually appear in Fedora before spreading across the Linux ecosystem. By using Fedora, users are often getting tomorrow's Linux technologies today. Gaming is another major reason why many people may switch to this distribution in 2026. Linux gaming has improved more in the last 5 years than it did during the previous 20. DEC has shown the world that Linux can power a mainstream gaming device, and many of the technologies behind that success are available across modern Linux distributions. Developers are also finding Fedora Atomic increasingly attractive. Libraries and development tools. Developers can isolate every project inside containers. One project might require Python 3.11, while another depends on Python 3.13. Instead of conflicting with each other, they coexist peacefully inside separate development environments. This not only keeps the system clean, but also makes projects easier to reproduce across different machines. Artificial intelligence is another trend shaping Linux in 2026. Local AI models are becoming more common. Fedora's modern software stack, newer GPU drivers, and container-based workflow make deploying AI tools much simpler than on many older Linux distributions. Whether you're experimenting with local language models or building machine learning applications, having access to recent software versions is becoming increasingly important. Security is another area where Fedora Atomic shines, since the core operating system changes very little during daily use. Malware has fewer opportunities to modify critical system files. Combined with SLinux, sandboxed Flatpak applications, secure boot support, and frequent security updates, users get a significantly more secure desktop experience without sacrificing usability. This approach is becoming increasingly attractive as cyber threats continue evolving. One criticism people often raise is that immutable Linux distributions feel restrictive compared to traditional Linux systems. While that's partially true, modern container technologies have solved many of these concerns. Instead of installing everything directly onto the host operating system, users simply create containers tailored for specific tasks. Developers get clean environments, gamers get stable systems, and everyday users enjoy fewer maintenance headaches. The learning curve exists, but once users understand the workflow, many never want to return to the traditional approach. Another factor driving Fedora's popularity is the broader shift toward Flatpak applications, rather than relying entirely on distribution-specific repositories. Developers can distribute applications directly through Flatpak, ensuring users always receive the latest versions regardless of their Linux distribution. This simplifies software installation while reducing compatibility issues between distributions. Applications are isolated from the system, making them safer while allowing developers to target the entire Linux desktop with a single package. Desktop environments have also matured significantly. GNOME continues improving its clean workflow and touch support, while KDE Plasma has become faster, more polished, and incredibly customizable. Fedora offers excellent implementations of both environments through Silverblue and Kinoite, giving users the freedom to choose the experience that best matches their workflow without sacrificing the underlying reliability of the operating system. Hardware support has improved dramatically as well. Modern AMD graphics cards work exceptionally well on Linux thanks to open source drivers. Intel hardware continues to receive strong upstream support, while NVIDIA has finally made significant progress toward better Linux compatibility. Combined with newer Linux kernels, many laptops and desktops now work almost perfectly out of the box. For new Linux users, this means spending less time troubleshooting drivers and more time actually using their computers. Of course, no Linux distribution is perfect. Ubuntu still offers one of the largest communities. Linux Mint remains one of the easiest choices for beginners. Debian continues to dominate servers with its legendary stability, and Arch Linux provides unmatched customization for advanced users. Each distribution has strengths that make it the right choice for different audiences. But if we're asking which Linux operating system best represents where desktop Linux is heading in 2026, Fedora Atomic stands out because it embraces the technologies that are shaping the future rather than preserving the habits of the past. The next big Linux operating system isn't necessarily the newest distribution or the flashiest one. Instead, it's the one that quietly solves problems users have dealt with for decades while preparing for the next generation of computing. Safe updates, rollback capabilities, modern software delivery, containerized development, stronger security, excellent gaming support, AI readiness, and enterprise-grade engineering all combining to an operating system that feels built for the future rather than adapted from the past. As more developers, gamers, creators, and everyday users discover these advantages, Fedora Atomic has the potential to become the Linux distribution that defines the desktop experience for years to come. It represents a fundamental shift in how Linux is designed, maintained, and experienced. Whether it completely replaces traditional distributions remains to be seen. But one thing is becoming increasingly clear. The future of Linux is no longer just about choosing a desktop environment or a package manager. It's about choosing an operating system that is reliable, secure, modern, and ready for the next decade of computing. If current trends continue, Fedora Atomic could very well be the Linux distribution that everyone is talking about, then the one that countless users decide to switch to in 2026.